What's up everyone, this is Eflex here and welcome to another breakdown analysis video. So today we're going to be breaking down this song from Andromedik called Running featuring Imallryt, or if I should say it correctly, I'm alright. If that's how it's pronounced correctly. Sorry for the butchering of pronunciation for the title of the song. For this video, we're going to be going into a drum and bass song that is in my Eflex favorites playlist. If you guys have not followed that or checked that out, feel free to check that out. So this is a song that I recently heard on Xketo, and I've seen this person or this producer's name before on Liquicity and on Xketo being promoted here before, and I heard this song and it caught my attention, and I really did like the song. The vocals are really good, the structure is really good, and so far on this channel I haven't broken down drum and bass. So personally for me, I really like drum and bass. That's one of the other genres I like to produce. The genres I really do kind of produce are kind of like electronic chill. That's kind of been the more recent thing. I like to produce house, whether it be progressive or just a weird sounding house song, and I do like to produce kind of drum step, drum and bass type music. I don't like to stick to one genre, but I haven't tried glitch hop, trap, future bass. Those are genres I haven't really ventured into yet. Same with like electro and complextro. I needed some help from Eccentric to kind of make Lost Without You, because I hadn't made an electro complextro song quite like that. So overall, I am a big fan of drum and bass. Just some personal favorites of mine are Maddock, Muzz or Muzzy, Faint, Ramses B, all the big names. Stannis, I guess it's not Stannis B anymore, Fox Stevenson. Just some big names in the drum and bass world, so to name a few. So this is a drum and bass song that I hear from Xketo, and just a little backstory on Xketo for me. Maezong and I had Reaching Halo promoted on Xketo a long time ago. Didn't even know Xketo existed. I think Xketo was a fan of Argo Fox and a fan of Maezong. And back in early 2014, she heard our song Reaching Halo and promoted our song. And back then, I think Xketo only had 100,000 views. I mean, not views, subscribers, which at that time was huge already, but it wasn't massive like to where she is now. I think she has like 1 million or 2 million subscribers, which is quite crazy. So if you do look in the, I think, house or progressive house section towards the bottom of her playlist, like you will see that Reaching Halo's on there, and it actually is one of the older songs on Xketo, which to me is kind of crazy. Never really would have thought that Reaching Halo would be promoted, let alone on a really big channel like Xketo now. I mean, I thought it was big then, but it's way bigger now. So I mean, that's probably the only time you'll see Eflex promoted on Xketo, but hey, I figured I'd just, give the backstory on my history with Xketo and how I started listening to Xketo. So in the past, I was really into listening to a lot of songs on Xketo, but more recently, I'm a little more selective with the music on Xketo because, her music taste has changed, and certain songs are similar to the songs I used to listen to around 2014, 15, maybe even 16. And certain songs are a little bit more poppy. So overall, this song I found, though, was really good. I think the song might have been released on Liquicity. But either way, we'll start with the breakdown now. It's a drum and bass song. Generally, drum and bass is mixed at 174 BPM. Why 174? I don't know. It ranges within the 170 to maybe 180, but most producers just stuck with 174. I'm not exactly sure why that's the sweet spot. It's kind of like why 128 BPM is the sweet spot for electro house and house music. Not exactly sure. Same with glitch hop at 110 BPM. It's just, I guess producers find that sweet spot BPM and tempo, so it's just everyone kind of makes it there, and when everyone makes it kind of around the same BPM, it's easy to mix like in a DJ set or something. So who knows, but that's what I'm assuming this BPM is for the song, is around 174. So let's get into the song. So right off the bat, it starts with the vocals, and then there is a sound on the bottom, kind of like a pad playing, and then there was kind of a sound that went da-na-na-na, kind of like a reverb sound for, I guess, like a lead or just like a one-shotted sound with a lot of reverb and delay. So there's like 3 different sounds that happen pretty much right off the bat within the first 10 seconds of the song. Pretty interesting to know. So it's interesting also to note that there was a hi-hat kind of just hitting, and then as the pad sound kind of came up with some other shot sounds, like lead kind of one-shot sounds in the back, like you notice now that the percussion for the hi-hats is not like on every beat. It's now like a little, it's coming in a little more often, like you kind of hear more of a rhythm to it than just kind of one hi-hat just being hit every beat. So now the vocal kind of comes in, there's a new pad introduced, and then the vocals actually come in instead of kind of a harmonizing note to the pad. So, but that intro is really nice. I do like that harmonizing vocal. That is what I always remember when I think about the song more recently. When I think of the song that randomly comes up in my head, I just all of a sudden hear that kind of vocal intro in my head, like, oh, this song. Time to save myself from falling out and off the edge again now. I'm running out, running through the seconds in my chest, but I keep waiting. Pretty cool. There's a piano playing along with the pad that's pretty much playing the chords for the song, and it's harmonizing with the vocals playing above. And then there is kind of like a white noise sound because I think it's about to build up into the drop. So we'll go from there. So for this drop, you hear kind of the lead kind of playing. There was a little bit of high noise, and then the kicks were more sudden, so they went toot 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 toot. So they played a little more frequently to transition into the drop. There wasn't a space separation, it just kind of changed with the kick coming in to kind of introduce the fact that there's going to be a transition coming. So it's not like a big sudden surprise. It's kind of just slowly, it's kind of just easing a little bit into the drop. From some of the other songs that we've seen, the build-ups in some of the other songs, like the electro house songs and the progressive house songs, they have like a little longer and a more dedicated section to a build-up. Not every song needs that, and some of the other songs had like a break in between the build-up before the drop, like kind of like a measured break. But again, not every song needs that. For this song, I don't think it needed it because everything was flowing pretty well. So now the drop is happening, so the kick is introduced and the percussion's going and playing, and there is some vocals, but there's going to be more synths coming in, more one-shot synths, so just listen to that. So it's pretty cool. So you had kind of the kind of that playing with an arp in the background, playing with the pad playing, and then the percussion rolling. I think there were a couple other sounds too that kind of one-shotted in there, but that pad harmonizing with the vocals, with that arp playing in the background, that lead kind of like that was kind of a nice touch. And then here you kind of heard before the transition that the new kind of, I kind of want to call it the bass sound, like, or pad sound, like the new pad sound almost was being introduced. So it was volume filtered probably in, or automated in, to where like it gradually comes in into this part, so it kind of eases the transition and makes the transition more smooth. So when you hear it now kind of play with more of the new lead, let's just say, then it won't be just a sound just starting abruptly. And it sounds kind of weird, but your ears will know if a sound starts abruptly versus a smooth transition, because you'll probably notice it when you're listening to a song if it doesn't transition smoothly like that. So just an observation I made. Alright, so in the second drop, what I do really like is kind of what you noticed with the lead. So that kind of new pad's introduced. There is an arp playing in the background. It might be the same kind of arp sound from the first drop, but it's not really that prominent. But the lead sound is pretty interesting with kind of like the, I don't know if it's like the same sound that's being more prominent, or if it's a different sound that plays, but it almost sounds like there's a call and response happening. So you hear the lead go da 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 da, but it's like really far in the background, and then you hear like the synth play maybe a little bit louder, or a different synth play. And basically from the section you can kind of hear like from that kind of lead playing that da 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 da, like you hear like da da, kind of like a call and response almost like. And in music, that's kind of a common, I guess, technique you could use for most songs. Like you have one part of the lead play, and then like the other part plays kind of like as a response. So like one part starts as the call and the second part answers as like the response. So it's like da 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 da. I don't know, it's kind of like a technique that you can use. I used it in my song Albion before, so that's like a common technique to use in songs when you're writing leads and stuff. It gives it a nice transition, and you can switch out to a different synth sound if you want to, if you want to use a different synth sound to respond or something along those lines. So that was pretty interesting. And I think in this drop there's like a gap between the first drop and the break, kind of like to outro it out, which is similar to some of the other songs we've broken down before that have kind of a gap in between, where it's not just a sudden transition.
I'm running out, pushing for the moment I can breathe and pull my head above the tide of this crowd. I'm running out, holding on to something in my soul that tells me now's the time to stay away.
So with this part, it's similar to the intro. The pad is a little more prominent. There is a pluck sound playing, I think, as well, and then the vocals are playing kind of to harmonize all that together. So there's like a pad, a pluck, and the vocals. And I don't know if I heard the same hi-hat. That hi-hat might be playing, it might not be playing. Let me see.
But everywhere I look, it's going away. But everywhere I look, it's going.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed that hi-hat that was playing like in the intro, beginning of the song, playing on every beat. So that's kind of an interesting observation that he took that away in this break. But that would make sense because there was a lot of percussion happening, and then kind of take it away since it was just happening. So kind of transition in, it gives it a little bit of a change in the song.
Counting down.
Interesting. So the harp in this section and the build up and the lead sound, they play right before the drop to kind of transition and reintroduce to you those sounds. So when you hear it in the second drop again, it's not such a foreign sound. Like you'll hear it again just right now in the build up before you hear it again. And this section is pretty similar to the kind of build up before the first drop. To me, there's nothing too different. The percussion rhythm is pretty much the same as well. So it was just kind of a nice thing to note that the lead and the harp are both kind of transitioning at the same time and being played now to kind of, volume fade in and kind of introduce those sounds before the drop, so it's not so abrupt when you hear those sounds in the drop at a louder volume. So pretty much from what I heard in that second drop, it's pretty similar to the first drop. Actually, in the kind of the build transition section towards the end to the last kind of measure in the second drop, it's kind of like a string sound that builds up and then kind of calls and responds with like a lead sound that's higher. It kind of sounds like a string sound. And other than that, the song pretty much outros in the same way, but unlike some drum and bass songs, there isn't like a percussion outro for like 15-30 seconds. Some drum and bass songs have that, some drum and bass songs don't. I don't know if this is like a radio edit or a shortened version of the song, but it doesn't seem to have it, and it just kind of outros pretty normally with the sounds playing, and then it kind of fades out. And basically the percussion in the main drop, I do like the snare. It's not like a super impactful snare, it's more like a, I don't know, high-end kind of thinner snare, if you want to say that. So it's not so prevalent, like you hear it, but it's not like it doesn't take away from the mix, and kind of adds that kind of high end where a lot of the sounds you hear in the song, from what I noticed, a lot of them are kind of more on the lower end with more drum and bass, because I mean, drum and bass in the name has drums and bass, so those are kind of the main focus. But I like this one as a more melodic take on drum and bass, has that really nice orchestral vibe. I definitely dig songs with a more orchestral, spacey vibe, because that's kind of the style of music I kind of make myself. So overall, give this song like a 9 out of 10. It's really good. It's up there with some of the songs. It's a little bit short. It's only 3 minutes 5 seconds. Some drum and bass songs are pretty short, but this one's definitely on the shorter end. So overall, if you guys like this video and this breakdown analysis, let me know in the comments. Let me know if I need to improve on anything. If you guys thought the same thing as me, what notable things I didn't hear that you guys heard. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe. But overall, yeah, just leave a comment and just let me know how you guys like the video and if what I need to improve and stuff like that. So overall, this is the Andromedik running song with Imallryt. I believe that's how you say that person's name. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Pretty good drum and bass song. Good choice on keto. What more can you say? All right, have a good one, everyone. Peace.